All right, this is the 28th of November, like Tuesday. Check it out here now. The day we studied before today was a doji. It was a bar that went up above the previous day's high and below the previous day's low. This is the opposite. Today on the 28th, we're studying an inside bar where it does not go to the outside edges of either side. It stays in the middle. All right, and so let's take a look at that on a 5-minute chart. I haven't really marked it up yet. I like to start with 8 a.m. and go all the way to 4 p.m. on the 5-minute and look for patterns, look for breaker block patterns at the low area and at the high areas of the previous day. That's what we're doing to backtest this strategy. If you saw the video we made yesterday, it was perfect because the breaker blocks went below the low of the previous day and reversed all the way to the high of the previous day, went above it, and came back down for two fabulous setups on both sides, which is rare. Today, we see the breaker block taking place after the opening bell right here in this area. Let's draw it out for you. But it doesn't go below. In fact, we have a pivot right here that we would like to see it take out. But what does it do? Here's some pivots before the market opens. Let's check it out. You got the 8 a.m. and then you got up here until about 9 o'clock, right? And it shuffles around right here until right here. Then all of a sudden, the bell opens up. And on a breaker block, you'd want to see this thing come down here and take out that left side stops. Take out the stops there. That's not what happens. So where can we count the breaker block? I'm learning right along with you. If we're going to mark it out from the opening bell and ignore the sweep here, if we're going to ignore, let's say we're going to ignore this low, we'd like to see it come into yesterday's low. But here's a pre-market low, and here's yesterday's low. So when the bell opens up, we don't get either one of those swept. We do get the one swept right here, though, the little tiny 820 stops that was put in right here. This one is swept. That's it. So it's a little bit challenging to look at this and go, okay, that's a breaker block we want to take. But here's what happens when the bell opens up. Let's mark it all up here. It starts off with, let's see, it goes up, down, down, up, down. It sweeps the left side. It sweeps those lows on the left side and then displaces right here. And if you want to call that the displacement, that's great. I can see two separate displacements here, depending on which pivot we want to use. If we're going to use this pivot right here, then it did displace. Did it create a fair value gap? Yes, it did. Here's the fair value gap. There's the two entry points. Perfect. Now, if we wanted a higher displacement, we could use this point up here and look for the same thing and go, hey, let's use this one. I like this one better. Did it create a fair value gap? Well, yes, it did right here. Were there opportunities to get in that trade? Yes, there were. Two pintails come on into it right there. Okay. And it never went to the high of the previous day. All right. It created a false fair value gap. And this could have been, if we didn't take either one of these and been happy with our profits for the day, when you take one or two and then you get greedy, this one didn't really work. Let's say we missed those two and saw this one and believed that it's going to go, up to the high of the previous day, which it doesn't. Getting in right here, we would have stopped out. We would have stopped out and it would have been a loss. Okay. And then we do have a reversal fair value gap over here where a fair value gap is created and there's a little bit of a short idea. It doesn't really go anywhere, but you could have broke even on it. And when we have a day like this, where a market, where the week, several weeks, it's just going sideways, and we've been seeing the last 4 or 5 days straight across in a row. It's hard to believe necessarily that, we're going to go up or down, and we might have not even traded that day at all. Okay. But let's see what we got here. Taking these would have been profitable. And, and you get enough pullback on this one to justify the entry at 50% pullback. This one is kind of high up and I don't know. I might have tried that if I didn't get it on the other two. If I came in late, I might have tried it, might have stopped out, immediately, and it would have been a loss. But, that's really all we got there on the 5-minute chart. We don't need to look at the 1 minute chart on these. When we got clear entries on the 5 minute chart, we don't need the 1 minute chart. I'll use the 1 minute chart if I can't see an opportunity. Sometimes the 1 minute chart will show you opportunities that are there that you don't see on the 5 minutes. So in this case, we don't need to look at the 1 minute chart. We see the opportunities on the 5 minute chart. So we'll see you on tomorrow's study on the next day. Peace.